This is why my channel is called Delusional Design, and I always think I can pull it all off until I'm doing it. Hello everybody, I don't know, not doing so super well. What else is better for your serotonin, oxytocin, dopamine? No, I'm not talking about...
Stop it!
Whoa, mirror ball stuff. Today I'm making disco ball jeans with actual small mirrors, so you don't have to. Believe me, you'll thank me after watching this. I'm calling this one Mirror Mirror on the Wall. Who is the most delusional of them all? Spoiler alert, that's me. The reality is I found a lot of jeans on the street. Oh my god, that one's ripped open. They're kind of damaged though. Kind of want a jeans that maybe is a little bit darker so that it's easier to get an effect with bleach.
One pair of pants later.
This one's maybe promising. Well, it's a little bit tighter than I thought. Usually I just pick one and usually it fits, but this one, looks a little bit awkward, I'm not gonna lie. Like once upon a time, I did it on a jeans, sort of a strip of fabric with the seams on the outside, so that it looks a little bit more deconstructed and upcycled already, making it maybe a little bit more less tacky. Afterwards, see if we also need to do a little bit on the inside, because the crotch
is just a little bit tight as well.
as you might have not noticed because you're not staring at it. But let's just try it out on a little piece. Clearly, these are not made for clothes. So these mirrors have like a sticky sort of back, which I think for testing is great because then we can quickly apply it to the jeans and maybe also check a little bit what kind of pattern. Ooh, maybe some geographic? No, not geographic. Geometric. Basically, just I thought maybe some lines. It's gonna be a bit of a challenge to make it not too tacky in a way. Like, a little bit tacky is okay. It's gonna be a disco pants. Hallelujah, we have bleach. I thought because, wow, exactly what I don't know what I was thinking, but I thought a bit of a layered effect is nice. What I already realized with my bleaching journey on this channel, what they are saying is that you can over bleach your clothes, that you basically ruin your jeans with it. I thought this was sort of something that would have happened to me, to be honest. What?
Feeling special.
Yeah. This is actually a real thing. I already realized some of my bleach clothes were ripping pretty quickly. So I guess we're gonna try to not over bleach this jeans. So I'm gonna remove the back pocket for not one, but even two reasons. Cause all my ideas are so intelligent, is what I still believed at this point, at least. Firstly, for aesthetic reasons, as my vision was some deconstructed elements to try and make the design a little less costumey, but it will also allow me to do some tests with the bleach on the actual fabric. Okay, we have a little test piece. I need something where I can dunk my big what's it called? My big brush in. And what I also learned is that there's quite a big difference in how easy it is to bleach different kinds of jeans. Polyester usually doesn't bleach at all. Usually they have then 20% polyester and 80% cotton or something. It will probably also not bleach as well as 100% cotton. I'm gonna unhem the leg for multiple reasons, because all my ideas are so intelligent. Here's what I was still thinking at this point. Firstly, to add some extra length to the legs. Secondly, to add a raw edge for a deconstructed vibe, to make the jeans a little less more... You know what? I'll stop repeating myself now. This is supposed to be entertaining. Nope. But thirdly and mostly, to be able to open the side seams. Which, you genius. You already saw coming. I'm doing next. Ruthlessly all the way, except at the top, because there's top stitching there, so I better be careful.
2 very boring minutes later.
The legs completely open sesame, but surprise, there is this overlock stitch on the inside that I'm gonna remove because I want to create a raw edge inside out seam to make the jeans... shut up.
Yes!
So, I once saw a video about a clever way to get it out that I clearly cannot recall, surprisingly. So I'm just wiggling my seam ripper in between. But let me know in the comments if you know if there's a way to do this without creating so much mess. But this is going very quickly. It's been lying on the table for a couple of days. I had to work, okay? I thought maybe I can do something in between. Nope. I was too scared to start, I guess. But I had a lot of time to think. I came up with some genius brain farts. Number one, maybe, maybe just accept, actually play into the fact that this is gonna be a little camp. What I exactly mean with that, I'll show it a bit. So I did this test and 1 layer of bleach. We definitely need more layers. Yeah, so I bought actually another bottle of bleach. I thought maybe a new bottle will do better. Also, I'm not gonna do this inside, I guess. This is like, you don't want to breathe it all in. Be safe or ventilate, but don't exaggerate and hyperventilate. That defeats the purpose. Mirror, mirror on the wall. What did we learn from all our stupid mistakes in the past? To use this mirror as a little stand, since I finally decided to use a spray bottle to apply the bleach, because I feel like this will somewhat protect the fabric from being too intensely bleached. And I also like to create a somewhat gradient effect. However, if there's only one thing you take away from this video, let it be this crucial information that might save your life one day. Spray bottles do not only spray, but also tend to drip.
Spots.
Is the last thing we want in our lives. So I keep it almost vertical. Try to not get the bottle too close. Do I see a dreaded drip already? Then bottle number 2, if you know, you know. If you don't know, this bottle is more for a gentle whilst the previous bottle is more for a real. I actually want to do front and back at the same time, otherwise it's gonna take forever. Oh, maybe I should not wear dark blue jeans when I bleach. Keeps wearing dark blue jeans. Okay, I didn't wet the backside, then we can see if it actually makes a difference. My good friend, ChatGPT, told me that pre-wetting the fabric with some water would speed up the bleaching process. However, in my mind, this logic doesn't really hold up, because bleach also already contains water. And I feel like if the fibers are already completely soaked with water, I'd say that bleach penetrates less and gets more diluted that way. So I tried both, but couldn't really figure out the difference, to be honest. Now that that is marinating outside, we might as well do some more tests with this stuff, because I have some weird ideas. I thought maybe I can sew over it with transparent thread, but I'm not sure that's gonna work. So at the drugstore, I happened to bump into this good old sewing thread. But look, where is it? Where? Magic. I kind of forgot it even existed, and you hear it got me a little bit excited. It's this kind of plastic filament thread, but wait, there is more. I thought this water soluble material will help us out. It's for machine embroidery, but you can buy similar stuff for sewing as well. And it dissolves in, you might have guessed it, water. So store it wisely, unlike me. For God's sake, that stuff ain't cheap. And then I just pin it on top, hoping it will do something. Add some glide. I do think we can do the transparent thread on top and just do the normal thread on the bottom. That's usually how I sew with like a specialty thread, sort of you put the thicker thread on top. I don't know what normal people actually use this for. Normal people that don't make mirror jeans. Maybe if for transparent fabric. Maybe that could actually be. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I'm gonna make the impossible possible. Sewing over actual glass. Who comes up with that, right? Yeah. Don't tell my sewing machine it was me though. I feel like she's gonna hate me. Whoa. Was my reaction when I realized the transparent thread was actually transparent. Is almost invisible. Where is it? Nothing to worry about, guys. It's gonna be just like hurdles. Well, smile. Just act cool. Mamma mia. Put a stitch where there's fabric. So exactly up to the mirror. Then I move manually a little bit further by lifting the foot up and just moving the fabric. Drag, drag, drag. Okay, this is quite annoying to do. But drag your needle up to right over the mirror. And continue sewing, using hand or foot, up to the next mirror. Of course, we're not gonna let our needle end on top of the mirror, so if that's difficult for you, you can also just do most of it by hand. So we're basically gonna machine sew at the pace of hand sewing. I'm not saying this is sort of an efficient sort of technique. Thinking a little too late about this, but for videography purposes I probably should have dissolved it in water. It's quite satisfying to watch. The reality is you can usually just carefully rip this material off and try it with the sponge. If there's then little rest pieces left, you can remove it with a wet sponge or use the sponge to get it off a little easier. Although kind of fun, you do not have to wet your whole project. This material I believe is also made out of sugar. It can get a little sticky if you do that. So finally finished this sample. I don't know what about you, but I don't like it. Don't know how to explain, but it's giving a lot but nothing at the same time. It's gonna be a lot of work to jazz things up here. A few layers, few hours later, something is happening. just going over it. It's not completely dry or something. I wait about half an hour, something in between. Alright, there's one more sort of challenge I want to tackle in this never-ending preparation phase, which is, these are actual stickers, these mirrors. Of course, these are not stickers that are gonna stand the test of time. So we must basically find some way to remove the sticky layer without damaging the mirrors, ideally. So a little birdie gave me some hot tips how to remove the sticker. Step 1, scrape off as much as possible. No shit, Sherlock. So I'm trying to use heat to make it easier to scrape off. Let's see. I look skeptical. You're damn right. My skepticism is growing every minute. An old credit card? I don't know. I think she forgot I'm European again. We don't have endless supplies of credit cards just lying around the house. So ruler it is. Next step is to apply some acetone. Rub, rub, scrape, scrape. I mean, how hard can it be, right? Right? Well, if you're anything like me, at first glance you might think, funny, that starts to look like Tetris. And right after you're like, oh crap, it starts to look like Tetris. It is completely falling apart. Oh my god. At this point, I started to realize, uh-oh, we have an actual problem. Then one asks, we're good, we're fine, can do better, or even better, just don't speak at all. The thing is, there is 2 layers. One to hold the mirrors together, and the other one to hold the layer that holds the mirrors together, basically. Long story short, it started to dawn on me that it's almost impossible removing all the residue in one go, because it's all separating before even the first layer is off properly. And these mirrors are tiny if you want to do them one by one. So what now, you may wonder? I'm just gonna react how any regular person would do in this case. Panic! Soak for a little while. I don't know exactly why I was whispering. Maybe it brings luck. I was soaking a few mirrors in the acetone, hoping it would at least dissolve something. And it did. In fact, it dissolved the cup. Acetone can burn through plastic. How it's possible that it's still in the bottle is like magic. Back to business. Let's talk business. I don't know, guys. This is kind of a disaster. Okay, enough business talk for today. I did not give up my acetone soaking method just yet, but I quickly realized it only really started to do something by stirring wildly with the brush for a prolonged time, basically until your arms get sore, and even then it just got partly removed. I did come up with this sort of clever way to remove the first layer in one go, which is basically to stick them onto a regular paper, apply heat, and then peeling off the mirrors while it's still warm. To be honest, it was so hard to even collect patience for this, knowing we still have to stick them all onto the jeans. But at least this worked well. However, this do not try at home. The mirrors can damage quite easily. I mean, don't do anything in this video at home, if that wasn't clear yet, unless you're extremely bored and have exhausted all other options what to do with your life. So, washing out the bleach, use hydrogen peroxide to neutralize it. I swear, ChatGPT recommended this to me. But now I'd say you should have a big step with bleach, otherwise this happens. I know, right? If you didn't pay attention in chemistry class, like me, something with foam, heat, pressure, gas, and reactive radicals. Yes, this can actually turn you into a Trump supporter. It's come to my attention that you can't wear nail polish during this project. Something with acetone, I guess. So unfortunately, I must come out today as my true orange-nailed self. So I don't know who came up with this brilliant idea. I have one more sort of semi-clever idea, I hope. Okay, it was me. No, we're not gonna eat polenta. To be honest, this has been 3 years on the shelf. First time I made it, I straight away burnt it, and now I never dare to make it again. So I thought this can be a little bit of a physical scrub. Well, guys, polenta, acetone, plus sticky sticker residue. They were all together. What do you think? Was this a semi-clever idea? Or did it turn into a horrible sticky mess that haunted the project until the very end? Chemistry. No further comments. Something is not quite right with my sewing machine. The thread keeps breaking. So I came up with another semi-clever idea. Don't worry, no food involved this time. So I already made a beginning. Top stitching lines with the machine as guidelines for our mirror application, but also as a visual add-on to jazz things up even a bit more.
By the way, there is more.
If by any chance I accidentally have overbleached the jeans a little bit, this will also reinforce the fabric at least somewhat, but just have to make make sure the first stitch is in the direction I want, in my case parallel to the hem. And then I can just use the guides on the sewing machine to sew parallel lines and save the time of drawing lines onto the fabric. So in theory, this sounds more than great. Unfortunately, we are not able to sew in theory. I don't know what's going on. I tried everything.
More tension, less tension. More bobbin tension, less bobbin tension. Different needle.
And the thread just breaks. So yet another part that I didn't really envision would take me forever.
Okay, I lied. I did not try everything, but now I did, and it still sucks. But so like a pro or die trying.
Mommy, this not working. Sewing sucks. Gonna be a singer now. Either the thread breaks or the tension is so loose that the stitches are looking not nice. I have no idea why. It just had it sewing over mirrors just fine, and now, oh well, maybe that was the reason, but I don't know. The only thing that kinda helps is sewing slow. So technically all I do using just regular straight parallel stitches, starting and ending with a back and forth stitch, sewing right into the blue, like literally. And yes, I leave the ends hanging on. I know, I'm crazy, but I just like this weird kind of fringe. And okay, halfway through I decided it might be handy to have a few guidelines on the jeans, just to make sure that I'm still sewing in the direction I want. In the meantime, I think I can safely say I will never ever buy stickers anymore that I don't want to be stickers. Remember I was saying we should maybe embrace the tackiness. It's a little bit of an abstract sort of chaps vibe. You see the vision? And what makes sense about that is that we're gonna actually attach real little gloss stuff. Would be a little bit dangerous for the week, no, not that, but on the back, I mean, you wouldn't want to sit on it. It can actually break if you put a lot of pressure on it. And I'm also gonna leave the inner legs free, as we're gonna make the pants wider. I feel like having applications rubbing against each other when wearing the jeans is gonna be a really bad idea. I'm using Padex Repair Gel, also sold as 100% repair gel, as recommended by my friend that I don't think needs any more introduction. However, I can't really vouch for it yet, as I usually don't use glue, because I want my clothes to be washable and durable and all that. So if you have any recommendations, feel free to leave them in the comments. At least it dries transparently, because I'm already realizing quickly it's really hard with these tiny mirrors to apply the exact right amount of glue without anything coming out on the side. Oh, they're very hard to handle. You can get it away with a toothpick, and then it's barely noticeable. The only disadvantage so far... Nah, this does not have anything to do with Feng Shui. Nope. The surfaces actually need to be pressed together for about 10 minutes. So yeah, we basically get involuntarily a weight training simultaneously. Oh my god. If anyone ever does these kind of gluing things, give all your hot tips in the comments, because I feel like I'm just literally amateur. Don't want this. Don't know why I did that involuntary muscle movement, but I want it more like that, sort of a gradient, but in a graphic way, where the mirrors are lining up with the stitches, but also vertically form columns, and a touch of randomness, as in some rows being longer than the other ones, just like the stitching. I keep finding mirrors basically everywhere. I mean everywhere, from my bed, on my clothes, in my hair. What is kind of screwing us over is that the mirrors are so small, but it makes it so hard to handle. Look, we're gonna fast forward things here a little bit, because I don't want to turn this video into an hour-long rant about how long it all took. We're vibing, we're jiving, we are absolutely panicking under chaotic circumstances. We don't shower anymore, we don't cook anymore, we need to get this finished. Okay, it's taking forever, I'm not gonna lie. I had to go to the store about 10 times to get more mirrors, glue and acetone. Extra strong acetone. Yeah, that was just the beginning.
You serious?
I probably could have smelled it, but yeah. Don't breathe it in, maybe don't. Acetone evaporates, and I don't know why it took me so long to realize you probably should not pour it in a bucket, because before you know it, it's gone. I ended up using an embarrassing amount of acetone. If I would have done a few mirrors at a time, adding it little by little, like a patient person, I would have probably only needed a fraction of the acetone. But I don't want to turn this into a rant about how I'm tired of chemistry. But seriously, just one thing. Can all the chemicals just stop now? Thank you. And I will especially not rant about the chaotic mess that I was working and living in for a not to be disclosed but way too long period of time. So I don't think I will ever eat polenta again. There's polenta everywhere. It's almost as bad as the mirrors. At least it doesn't stick that much. But we're just putting it on the floor. And as you see, I kinda gave up. My whole house was just embarrassing at this point. This project was just so intense, as in intensely slow. It did start to affect my mood. I was just not really taking care of anything.
So much later that the old narrator got tired of waiting and they had to hire a new one.
Okay, I'll include one more chemical reaction, because clearly they didn't stop. Don't soak mirrors in vinegar. If you ever get into that situation, don't do it. It took me at least 2.5 hours to scrape these mirrors, and then I soaked them in vinegar overnight to get some of the polenta grease off, but it completely ruined the silver layer. I just basically a piece of glass now. Hallelujah, we're nearing the end of Mirrorgate. We still have this whoopsie very visible bleach stain, as must be clear by the rest of this video by now. Very unusual for me for these kind of things to happen, but we are lucky. It's right on the pocket. Who needs a pocket? So I'll just distress it away. It's gonna look a lot better. Now, a small detail. We still have to turn this thing into something I can actually wear. And now I'm wearing almost nothing but this glue removal stand. I was like, yo, I've been inhaling so much fumes the past days. By the time this video is up, I'll be probably in my grave anyway. Then I sew panels into the sides of the jeans. I've been doing similar stuff for a couple of times now on my channel, so I'll go over it a little more quickly today. I had to join 2 pieces of fabric because they were not long enough for the leg. To finish the edges, I zigzagged the 2 sides of the seam allowances together. Then I top stitched from the good side about 1 to 2 millimeters from the seam, catching the seam allowances underneath. And this will create a strong and nice looking seam. We need a piece that's quite a bit longer, because instead of adding a whole kind of waistband piece, I just want to fold in the top 2 times, so we have a sort of full waist kind of situation that will not stretch out too much when you're wearing it. Then I pin the panels into the side exactly how I think I want to sew them in, so I'm actually making it a little bit smaller on top. And then at the hem, use the full width of the panel. I think the white does make it look a little bit cheap. Yeah, I do think I have to make it from a light colored denim maybe. That was a very wrong call. I thought it would blend in more with the color of the jeans. Otherwise, it seemed to fit quite well, especially around the waist, importantly. So I'm just gonna make the same panels from the skinny jeans instead, which I actually had to include the dark part, but I figured it would add some quirky details, as the jeans had not so much going on so far, arguably. Hold your pink cushions. A little bit of a terrifying moment, because can we actually still close the jeans? Since my sewing machine is just so unreliable, and the mirrors ended up being quite close to the seam, somewhat accidentally. Of course, now it was just working just fine. In fact, her foot is just gliding over the mirror smoothly, like she's been doing it her whole life. Everything was such a pain, and the thing that I expected to be difficult, no problem. I ended up adding a second panel at the crotch, because now the pants were so wide. Except for the crotch, so that's not really fair. I never did it like this before, and I must admit it was a little bit tricky because the inside of the jeans had these sort of jeans seams, so it's harder to just add a panel in between. So on the side where the seam is folded, I'm just gonna cut in the seam allowance towards the seam. But also I'm not gonna sew it in regularly. Instead I'm gonna pin my fabric in like that, so basically sewing the panel behind the fabric of the jeans. I was literally making it up as we go. There's something with my brain not being able to visualize or understand jean seams, so I always have to sort of dive into the deep and hope I'll survive. But if you, unlike me, don't like hassle and spending a ridiculous amount of time on your sewing projects, you might as well open the entire inner leg seams, because then you don't have to deal with all this. I'm gonna top stitch 2 parallel lines where previously the top stitch was as well. I'm using a nice sort of orangey thread to match the sort of jeans vibe. Easy peasy thread break. Of course. Wow. Well. I have no words anymore. Thank you if you've made it to this far in the video through the most ridiculous, I feel like, process ever, probably on whole YouTube, at least on my channel. Actually, I really like these seams on the outside. If I would recommend one thing from this video, it's that, because they can really accentuate your hip really nice. And probably I should have gone higher with the mirrors, because I kind of quit at the pocket, but I can apply more. I'm not gonna do it, but I can. So that, you know, this accentuation is even more accentuated. please subscribe for more. Thank you to my Patreons for supporting this channel. Thank you for commenting, for the algorithm, liking, share this with your sewing, fashion, DIY friends, and I hope that yeah, I'll see you in another video. Check out this scraps bag video as well. This gorgeous denim bag. I might leave like Cinderella, like some mirrors around town and some threads from this scrappy bag, but that's the vibe statement I leave around Berlin. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you made it to the end, respect to you. It was probably also not that easy.